It's time for your statewide Alabama weathercast.
Good afternoon. I'm meteorologist Drew McCombs with the Alabama Weather Network, and this is your afternoon forecast update. And we see a good bit of sunshine across the state, thankfully, today after a dreary several days. And we've had a few clouds pass through here and there, had some upper level clouds pass through earlier fairly quickly with a little shortwave, little piece of energy moving through a trough overhead. But that's all it produces, just some high level clouds that move through. And now we've cleared back out in a good portion of the state. Also have had some lingering low clouds in southeastern Alabama, right there along the border with Georgia, but generally most places in that area will have seen a good bit of sunshine today. So it's been a nice change to be able to kind of bathe in the sunshine a little bit, even though it's still been fairly cool out there. Looking at our temperatures, again, I think actually this temperature may be a little bit old. I don't think we're still sitting at 33 degrees. We'll have to fix that, but you can see that the skies are blue there, so it's beautiful looking across the campus of the University of North Alabama. We'll see if our next one here looks a little bit better. Yeah, there you go, 48 degrees. That looks more like what I would think it would be. So again, we've still stayed in the 40s in the northern part of the state, but definitely has at least felt a little bit better, especially if you're out in the sunshine. You'll feel the warmth a little bit more there. Blue skies there in Russellville as we continue to move across the state. Huntsville's at 44 degrees, so a little bit higher in elevation on Monte Sano. Still fairly chilly up there with that temperature reading, and again, some blue skies there. Maybe a little bit of, I'm not sure if that's smoke or haze or whatever, but you're seeing definitely some blue skies ahead of that or above that in Huntsville. As we continue to move towards the south, Region Center there looking back towards Red Mountain and Vulcan and downtown Birmingham looking really nice. We've hit 51 degrees there, so we've actually gotten into the 50s in the central part of the state. Up at that, a little bit higher up on top of the tower there, you're getting a gust around 17 miles per hour, but generally the winds are fairly light around the state today. As we move further to the south, Alabaster looking beautiful there. Seeing some of the ridges there in the distance is 51 degrees there as well. Dew points are in the 30s in a good portion of the state, so dry air mass in place. Bald Rock looking really nice here. Again, we've had this been kind of stuck in the clouds quite a bit here recently, but a nice view from Bald Rock today, 49 degrees there with a little bit of a breeze, occasionally gusting up to 15 or so miles per hour. Jefferson down in the further southwestern part of the state looking really pretty there as well with blue skies and hard to find any clouds out there in that part of the state. And then as we move to the coast, the Gulf looking very, very calm out there today. It's almost kind of like an optical illusion or something, but it just looks super flat there at Dolphin Island. It's 50 degrees, so comfortable for this time of year. And as we look over at Orange Beach, you can see it's pretty calm there as well. You can see a few waves moving through, but it's very, very calm conditions there, 51 degrees. So probably a nice afternoon to kind of walk along the beach with maybe a light jacket on. All right, so what we're watching for today and this week. So again, we expect to be dry through Friday. We'll see a little bit of a warm up for tomorrow, and then we'll see a little bit of a warm up again on Friday. After Thursday, we kind of cool down a little bit behind a dry cold front, but generally seasonal temperatures overall. So it'll be kind of up and down a little bit, but overall nice, lots of sunshine. And then as we get into the weekend, rain looking more possible on Sunday, but really more showers. We're not going to get any sort of significant rainfall totals with this. Could see a few showers on Saturday too, increased cloud cover, but Sunday looks like the better chance of seeing some showers, especially in the northern part of the state. Here's your temperatures right now. So it's nice to see that we've gotten into the 50s across a good portion of the state. We've hit 52 in Clanton. We're also that in Alexander City, 53 in Florence. Still seeing some 40s up in the northern part of the state, but we're 54 degrees in Troy. And actually Eufaula is only 46. Looks like Dothan's only 49. Those are some of those areas that are still stuck underneath some of those stubborn clouds in kind of the western part of Georgia that's overlapped across the state line just a little bit there, but it's 54 at Atmore. So other than that, a little spot there, generally looking pretty good across South Alabama. Lows for tonight won't be quite as cold as last night, but it'll still be fairly chilly with freezing temperatures still fairly common, 34 degrees in Anniston, 36 in Huntsville, expect to get around 32, so about freezing in Greenville. As you head towards the coast, maybe 40s, but generally still fairly common to see 30s across the state for tonight. And then tomorrow we do a little bit of a warm up, especially in the southern part of the state where we get into the 60s. So again, we'll have a dry cold front starting to pass through later on tomorrow. Ahead of that, we'll see a little bit of warm air return ahead of it. And that's part of the reason we'll be able to see temperatures getting in the 60s, 64 in Atmore, 66 Gulf Shores. Further to the north, places like Auburn up to Birmingham and Hamilton towards the northeast should generally be in the mid to upper 50s for tomorrow. So we'll take a look at our futurecast here. So again, as we move through the rest of the day, today will continue to stay dry and should be fairly clear over the course of the nighttime period. So again, as we look at Wednesday, here's that dry cold front that moves through. So we'll see an increase in clouds, but again, we'll get a little bit of a southwesterly flow, especially in the southern part of the state, that will help to increase the temperatures a little bit down there. Again, we expect this to be dry. There could be some showers further to the north, but we really aren't expecting anything here. And then we get a little bit of a cool down slightly on Thursday. So we see temperatures dipping back down into maybe the 20s again in the northern part of the state, and around freezing further towards the south, maybe closer to 40 all the way down to the coast. But a little bit of a cool down again on Thursday. Highs only getting into the 40s and 50s again. Maybe some places could try to touch 60, but generally a little bit cooler with that cooler air mass in place. And then on Friday, we kind of rebound again and expect to see temperatures getting back into the 60s again in the southern part of the state, and could approach 70 in some spots. Now, it does look like we'll see a little bit more cloud cover because we'll be kind of anticipating the next system arrival. We'll see the moisture start to try to return a little bit ahead of the next system. And so a few more clouds, but still a little bit warmer. So Friday looking pretty good. The model trying to show a speck or two of showers for Friday night, but really that would be very minimal, if anything. Then as we get into Saturday, still picking up on maybe a few scattered light showers on Saturday. We do expect to see an increase in cloud cover on Saturday, but really the main time that we would get a little bit of rain would be on late Saturday night and into Sunday morning. So you can see this front beginning to move into the state as we get into late Saturday night and the Sunday morning. But the models have kind of been trending now a little bit earlier again on that frontal passage, so that maybe it's mostly through the state by the time we get into the time that most people are going to be waking up on Sunday morning, starting to clear out from the north, but cool, dry air coming in behind that front. But really you see very minimal showers and nothing significant as far as rainfall totals. We're not expecting any significant rainfall totals. It'll be very minimal from that. And then after that, looks like we'll dry off or dry out again as we head into Monday, but it'll be cold Monday morning and Monday and probably into Tuesday as well. We'll see that with our temperature trend here. So again, we're still got some cold air in place for today. Then as we move into tomorrow, you see just kind of this somewhat temporary slight warm up of the temperatures right above the surface as we go into Wednesday, and that'll help us to warm up a little bit ahead of this next little spoke coming in of the trough nearby that will help us to cool back down just a little bit on Thursday like we talked about. Then we see again a little bit of a warm up on Friday ahead of the next little surge of cold air. And then as we get into Monday morning, the main bulk of the Arctic air stays up to our northeast. So this was what we'd been looking at a couple days ago, where it looked like this might get a little bit further towards the south and to the west, where we would see more of the core of the colder air, which would have gotten us well down into the teens in some spots over the weekend. But it's now basically forecast to be more to the northeast. Now we're still going to get cold, especially in North Alabama Monday morning and Monday probably into Tuesday, but not to the extent that we originally were expecting, but it's still going to be pretty chilly out there, and we'll talk about the specifics of that. And then we do see a warming trend, though, as we head later on into next week. Looks like we should warm back up, but still be fairly dry for at least the first couple of days of next week. Looking at the lows, this is just kind of a sample of the Tennessee Valley area here, and you can see, again, that we'll be getting down into the 30s tonight, and then, again, Thursday morning could see 20s again, or upper 20s in some spots. Most of the state still in the 30s, but you can see a little bit of a cool down there. Then we kind of go back up a little bit for a few days before there's your Monday morning lows. Now, again, we're showing 24 here. Certainly possible, almost would probably expect that some of the colder pockets in North Alabama probably will hit the upper teens. We'll see what happens, but that looks very possible probably at this point. But generally, fairly chilly during the mornings, but we'll be kind of up and down for a little bit here. So looking at your northern half of Alabama 7-day forecast. So again, sunshine, thankfully, for the next number of days here. Maybe a few more clouds again tomorrow, but the temperatures warming up a little bit. We expect to be in the mid to upper 50s in the northern half of the state. Lows still down generally in the 30s. And like I said, Thursday morning will be a little bit colder in some spots. And then a few showers possible on Saturday. A little bit better chance early Sunday morning of a few showers with the cold front, but then nothing significant really with that. And then we cool down and get a little bit colder, especially Monday morning and into Monday. For the southern half of the state, looks like we'll see, again, some nice weather as we get into tomorrow and as we get into Friday, with temperatures getting into the 60s, maybe some places trying to get in the upper 60s. So that'll be pretty nice in the southern part of the state. And then again, as we get into the weekend, it looks like better chance of rain on Sunday. But again, that's going to be not as much further to the south. A little bit better chance of the showers to the north. The front kind of washes out as it gets further to the south. So really expecting very minimal rain in South Alabama with this. And then again, we cool down a little bit on Monday. Well, that is your Alabama forecast update. We appreciate you watching us here on the Alabama Weather Network.